Hi guys, this is Evie. Welcome to my channel, and today we're going to talk about 8 tools from psychiatrist Phil Stutz that you can use to change your mindset, and especially if you're struggling with things like depression, being stuck, feeling demotivated, or kind of like not having direction right now in life. I think at least some of them, if not all of them, are really useful to most people, for better or worse. Alright, the first thing he talks about is this pyramid. I've been talking about mental health as well, but I've never paid attention to the order of the different things that you could do. And he does, and I think he's right. So let me show you. He's talking about this pyramid where you have 3 levels. The first is body, the second is people, and the third is self. And it's important that if you're feeling depressed, demotivated, anyhow stuck, you go through that pyramid in this order. I'm gonna explain why. So the body has 3 factors: exercise, diet, sleep. About exercise, there is almost no chance that you start moving and you don't feel better. Like biologically, what happens in your brain when you move is just inevitable. Like you cannot run away from the good neurotransmitters, from the good hormones that start being generated in your brain when you start moving. And you don't have to like heavy lift. It does help actually more, because the stronger the workout, the better for your mental health. Yes, okay. But there is research showing that even watching water, like if you have lake or any kind of like source of water around you, walking around it and looking at it already makes you feel better. So whether you're going for a walk, you're doing yoga, you're lifting, you're doing any sort of movement, 100% is gonna make you feel better. Now on diet. The thing with diet, it's not about the food just, it's actually a lot to do with other habits such as drinking. So just one quick message. Alcohol is a depressant. It makes you feel worse. At the moment when you feel shitty, it does help you at this moment to feel better, yes. But you're literally paying for your long-term misery with your short-term happiness. At the moment you're gonna feel better, but afterwards you're gonna feel worse as compared to how you were before the alcohol. So if you're here, the alcohol gets you here, the withdrawal of alcohol gets you here. Then you feel worse and you want to feel better again, so you drink to feel better again, but then this creates a vicious circle. So sleep. This is probably, I have a whole video about routines, I'm gonna post somewhere here, and one of the best routines you could have is sleep. I struggle with sleep as well. It's not easy. It's a constant effort, but it's also not easy to feel shitty and have to force yourself through the day without the right mood and without the energy and without the excitement about the fact that you're awake right now, because if you're not sleeping well, you are tired, you're drained, and everything feels like a chore, even the things that you usually enjoy. So the thing with sleep is that it's a hard thing to do, but it's one of the best investments you can make in yourself. So right, you got the body, you got your exercise, you got your diet, you got your sleep. You already feel better just because this is checked out. Now, when he talks about people, it's about connection to people, and it's also about doing to others. When for one or another reason you have lost inspiration, direction, motivation in life, doing favors, doing something for another person, being useful for another person or another creature. He talks about people, but to me, creatures, cats, dogs, plants, anything helps. The moment you start doing for somebody else, you don't have that pressure on yourself that you have to do for you. You have to like it, you have to be motivated. It doesn't even matter if you're motivated at this point, because there's somebody who needs your help, you do it for them, you already feel better, they feel better, and it's just creating this different perspective, which eventually gets you to a different point in your life. Finally, when you are already in a better position to think about it, you can look at yourself, and you should look at yourself. You should spend some time with your thoughts alone to realize what you want, what interests you, and see how you can implement in your day a bit more of those things. And something really cool he says is you don't have to figure it all out. You don't. Nobody has it all figured out. You don't have to figure it out in order to feel well. If you go through those steps and you start paying attention to your body, to the people around you, and paying attention to what you like and need and interests you, you're gonna feel better. It's inevitable. So it's not about having all the answers. It's just really having a better mindset so you can go through life in a bit more enjoyable way. So I would say self is about acceptance and about awareness. Number 2 is called part X. This is that part of you that is judgmental, that is skeptical, that is negative. This is the part of you that is there to convince you that nothing really matters, you don't have the skills, you're gonna look foolish, you're gonna fail, all those things that are in you and are self-sabotaging you. The trick is that this part of you will always be there to lesser or larger extent, and it's not about completely trying to erase it, because it's not natural. Every single time you want to do something different with your life, you're gonna feel a bit insecure at first. You're not gonna be good at it. Like, starting a new thing means being brave enough to suck at it at first. So it's normal, unless you're a complete narcissist who has no real connection with themselves and you are fully 100% convinced that you're great at everything. Unless that's the case, you will always have this doubt and you always have this inner part X in you that is criticizing. However, it's not about erasing again, it's about managing it. It's about accepting that it's there, but having a dialogue with it and being like, hey, I hear you, but I'm gonna try anyway because I want to and because I believe I can get better with consistent effort. It's just how it works. Number 3 is probably my favorite one. It's such a no-brainer when you hear about it, but we forget about it, as so many other things. We just know the information, but we don't act on it. And the way he puts it down, it's so clear, it's just really hard to avoid that reality. And that's actually how it's called, the 3 aspects of reality. So he says nobody can avoid pain, uncertainty, and constant work. So one way why people actually get depressed and stuck in a moment is because they believe that there is a way to never feel pain, to never feel uncertain. They want to have control, they want to have information, they want to know it all and or have it again, figure it out. And if you avoid the reality that you always have a certain level of pain, that you always have a certain level of uncertainty, and you always have a certain level of working consistently on whatever you are doing. If you try to avoid this, then you're basically having those goals in life or those dreams, whatever, and you only focus on them. You don't really care about the process, you just want to achieve that. And you start to believe that if you only get this thing that you want in your life, you're gonna finally be happy. And then you're missing the whole point, because achieving goals makes you feel happy for like 5 minutes, you know? Because the moment you achieve it, you want the next one. We like to chase dreams. We like to wake up in the morning and have a reason to go through that day. We are much happier with the process, but we forget about it. And even research has shown that the dopamine you are producing, it's much higher during the anticipation of rewards versus the actual receiving of the rewards. For example, going on vacation, thinking about going to vacation makes you excited and happy and all those good stuff. Going to the actual vacation, it's not the same actually. Usually there's a depletion, kind of like, hey, I mean, it's nice, I am happy, but that excitement, it's not there anymore. The moment you receive what you wanted, that excitement, that anticipation, that high spike of dopamine, it's not the same. So if you never learn to enjoy the process, you'll never be really happy, at least not for long. And a bit more on the uncertainty part. When we hear things like failure is not trying at all, you only fail when you don't even try. Yes, however, you also fail when you try halfway. When you enter, for example, a relationship and you are trying to build it, but at the same time you hold back a bit, you have this shield and you're having this like protection because you don't want to get hurt. Yes, you are in the relationship, you're trying to work it out, but you're having this mindset of like, I gotta be ready to like run away from it if I see something because I don't want to get hurt, which is understandable because especially at some age already you have so many memories and experience of things not going well. So you're building this self-defense mechanism in you. I understand where it's coming from, but to be fair, if you start a relationship trying to be a bit out of it, to be protected, and you're not allowing yourself to be vulnerable in that relationship, you are setting yourself up for a failure, because it's not going to work out when you're already kind of projecting or anticipating that it might fail, because there's this thing called self-fulfilling prophecy, and we start acting on our fears, and then this creates another reaction from the other person, and eventually things do fall apart. Same goes with business ideas, same goes with education, same goes with everything that you start. But if you're not ready to be vulnerable and to tell people, hey, I need help, hey, I'm stuck, hey, I don't know how to do that, if you're not asking around, if you're not connecting to people, that relating to other person is what makes you feel part of the process, which makes you enjoy the process more, and then at the end the whole thing has a completely different value for you and experience. You cannot progress if you're not open to the experience, you're not vulnerable, and you're not accepting that there will always be a level of uncertainty. This is fine, but you gotta give it a try anyway. That's the whole point. Tool number 4 is string of pearls, and this is fantastic mindset changing tool as well. So you have this like string of pearls. That's your life. And the point is that every time when you add a pearl on your timeline, there will be a bit of shit there as well. The point is that no matter how much effort and good intentions you put into something, it will never be perfect. Relationships, projects, hobbies, there will be always some problem. And that's inevitable. If you're looking for perfection, you'll never be happy. You'll just never be happy. The thing with the pearl stone is that the goal is that you put the next pearl on your timeline. Not somebody else, you. Because even if they put it, if they make the decisions for you, there'll be some shit too. But dealing with your own shit that you caused, although at first might sound like, I caused this, it's kind of hard to deal with it. Yes, but the value of it, it's much bigger for you. I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say you are studying something because your parents want it, not you. And you fail the exam. The failure of the exam will feel terrible for you, whether you are studying what your parents want or you're studying what you wanted. Either way, failure is a failure. It sucks. However, when you do pass the exam, when the program is something that you didn't want, that win doesn't mean much to you. It's kind of like, whatever. When it's your win though, oh yeah, that feels great. The difference here is that if you're building a life that aligns with somebody else's expectations and dreams and just values, every win that you are having, it's a win in their eyes. You are building their dream. If you are building your own pearls, then you know it's your own success and you can enjoy it better, because the shit in every pearl is gonna be there regardless. It's gonna feel bad regardless. But again, the win, that's gonna be different. That's why you need to be the one putting the pearls on your timeline. Tool number 5 is called the snapshot. It's about how people have this perfect moment, that perfect image that they experienced once, and they forget that a perfect moment is like a snapshot. It's a momentum. It's not something that is supposed to last. And we forget this and we start thinking about how to make this momentum last longer. We get stuck in this perfect moment and we start trying desperately to extend it. If we think about it, when you're trying to extend a perfect moment, you're basically trying to make everything look the same, which is not only impossible, but it's not even going to be that rewarding, because you need the ups and downs. That's how life looks like. There are ups and downs. And many people get depressed exactly because they forget the 3 aspects of reality: the pain, the uncertainty, and the constant work. They forget that this is reality and they start thinking about this impossible vision of perfection that they experienced once, and they just do everything possible to bring it back. They can't, and that leads to desperation, sadness, and all those negative feelings and experiences. The next one is called the maze, and this is a big topic because it has to do with your expectations of fairness. So one of the reasons people get depressed and stuck is because a very bad traumatic experience happened in their life. That event was really unfair, and they get stuck in how unfair this was, and they sort of feel like the only one way to move forward and to feel better, happier, even allow themselves to feel good is if that unfairness gets fixed. If the person apologizes, admits that they were wrong, somehow, if the world makes it fair to you, and it usually has to come from that person who hurt us, because unless it's from them, it doesn't feel fair, it's not balanced. And we hold on to this so much for years, for our entire life sometimes. We ruminate how badly we were treated, and we lose not only motivation to try again, but we also lose focus on what is in front of us, We stop looking in the future. We forget completely about the present. We're just preoccupied with that past. And it's like a maze, because the more you look into it and the deeper you stare into the problem, the more problems you'll be seeing, and it's gonna get deeper and deeper and deeper, and at the end, everything is gonna look unfair. The whole life, the whole society, everything is gonna be black and white, and it's gonna only add more and more and more reasons why you shouldn't be happy, you shouldn't be feeling well, because life is unfair, everything sucks. So it's like this never-ending negative cycle that you may never break out of it unless you make an effort, because it becomes a habit. It becomes so convenient for your brain to do the same thing that it will continue doing the same thing. So one visionary exercise you can do here to help yourself get out of the maze is, if you close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine you're in this, let's say, white, foggy, warm sphere, right? It's just nothing. It's just this warm, white thing around you. And you are surrounded by love. There is this energy of love. It's everywhere. That's the only thing that exists around you. You can imagine anything. So before you give up on this thought and thinking that this is not working, most of the time when people do not get better is because they don't actually try the exercises and the tools. So give it a try before you dismiss it. Back to the visionary. You're in that sphere and it's all love around you. And it's energy. So it can go inside you. You can feel it if you want to. Allow it. Allow all this love to come in. Think that you are like a sponge and you're soaking all the love, and it's in you, and it's living its own life, but it's also part of you, and you're feeding it and it feeds you. It's just a momentum of love. At this moment, you are the love lord of that universe that you are existing in that sphere. You are the master of love because you have all the love inside you. Now, imagine that person who did you wrong, who never apologized, who was unfair, and send them all that love. Just visualize how you send all of it to them. It reaches them. And yeah, it's gonna make them feel better, because everybody who hurts you, that pain that they cause you, it's coming from their own pain. So you are healing them with that love, and you're not doing it for them. You're doing it because the moment you visualize how you send love, you actually feel relieved. You're not happy when you're full of grudges and hate and disappointment. You're not happy when you want to be right and you want the world to be fair. You're happy when you let go. You're happy when you choose love. You're happy when you choose to be kind. You're happy when you choose to have this good energy inside you for yourself. So this exercise can actually help you break through the maze. Try it out. Tool number 7 is called radical acceptance. So good and bad things happen in your life. When a bad event happens, your best strategy is to squeeze the juice out of this event to find meaning in it. Whatever bad thing happens, it already happened. You cannot erase it. You cannot change it. You don't have control over it. But you can ask yourself, what am I doing now about this? This is how you bring the control back to you. This is how you feel more empowered. And it's so much better to have this mindset versus going in the corner and crying all day and being so unaccepting of the fact that whatever happened. So this radical acceptance is, again, there will be pain, there will be uncertainty, there will be hard work. It's normal. It's how it is. You cannot run away from it. You can destroy society and build it again. Maybe then it's gonna be different. But in this society, it is what it is. And actually looking at how animals are, there is no fairness there. Like small baby animals get eaten by bigger animals. It's just how the whole thing is built. But you can do something about it so it doesn't actually break you down. That's the whole point. So the main message here with the radical acceptance is that every single thought will affect your mood. A positive thought will affect your mood. A negative thought will affect your mood. You can choose the thought. You cannot change the fact that it's going to affect you, but you can choose the thought. And finally, we arrive to the last tool here. We all lose somebody in our life at some point. Sometimes it's extreme, like they died. Other times we just broke up with that person we didn't want to lose. Whatever it is, we know how loss looks like, and it hurts. The way to get better about it is to practice not being attached to things. It's not forcing yourself to never be attached. Like, listen, we are all humans with emotions and with feelings, and what makes us humane is the ability to attach and to feel connection with other people. This is okay. The problem is when we have this attachment to the point of feeling entitled to this possession, to this person. We want them, and if we don't have them, we go again into this like, oh, that's not fair, that's not how it's supposed to be, I have to fix this, I want it back, I cannot lose this. The mindset of I cannot lose this person is what makes us actually depressed. There is a difference between I want to be with this person, I care for them, and I want to build connection, but I understand it's completely possible to lose them, and I cannot ever keep something forever in my life, because we are all energy, and the thing is that we can give, but we cannot really have anything forever. Especially living creatures, we cannot have it. We can't. This whole attachment of like wanting to control and possess is what makes us miserable, because when we want this, unless we have it, we're not happy, right? And this is impossible. So we are signing up for never being happy because we want the impossible thing in order to be happy. Alright, you guys, those were the 8 tools from psychiatrist Phil Stutz. I watched the documentary on Netflix. It's quite interesting, but also a bit hard to watch. It's like hour and 40 minutes. It's black and white. It's kind of slow paced, and it's not something you just start watching and you finish right away. At least for me, it was hard. But the lessons from it are so good. They're so useful and mindful and just eye-opening, I think. And I hope you feel the same way. If you do, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you want. All my content is about mental health, how to shift your mindset and eventually achieve your goals, but be happy about it. Like, the whole thing with this channel is that you are in control, and I'm here to remind you that. And yeah, just if this relates to you, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.